Welcome, 80s here. In this video, I want to just take you through a timeline of my figure drawing process, or my figure drawing the steps I took to get from left 2020 until 2023. You can see there's a big difference, so let's see how I got there, and hopefully this can be helpful to some of you, give you a rough idea of time. I did draw a lot, so I don't know if this time period is quick or if it's slow. Either way, let's start from the beginning. So 2020, I was doing Drawbox, I was drawing cars, but I wanted to get into figure drawing. If you type that on YouTube, first thing that usually comes up is progress videos. I did have some gesture drawing practice on newsprint, but I got rid of those, so I don't have those anymore. I do still have these. This was my ability back then when I first started. There isn't much to say. I just watched progress videos and see if I could do it as well. And this was the level where I was at. I can't remember what exactly in 2020. It might have been mid 2020. But at that time, I thought, okay, I can't draw figures, therefore I need to learn anatomy. So I did that towards the end of 2020. Let's say November-ish, December. I started with the skeleton. Right here are some skull studies that I did. I actually live streamed this. That's why there's all these names. Someone named them. But yeah, so I did these. This was basically my first anatomy study, I guess. So yeah, this is where I was. 2020. This was my ability. Alright, so fast forward into 2021, where I decided I wanted to pursue an art career. Alright, I did some a figure drawing session with some friends of mine, and yeah, this is what happened that day. And if you look at it, there's I'm focusing way too much on shape, right? And I just had no idea of form. I mean, I did Drawbox before this, so I knew how to draw boxes, but I just didn't know how to apply that to the figure. Alright, so these aren't very good. Right, look at this one, for instance. There's just shape. Even if you've seen the recent video I made about shape design, you can see there's no shape design in this at all. Look at this. It's just no form at all. It's just really flat. Yeah, so that was, I think this was my first proper drawing session with like timed figures, whereas before I was just copying Procro, I think. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. Okay, what's next? February. So again, remember I said I was doing anatomy studies, so if you compare this stuff that I did to what happened next month, it's a big difference, right? And the reason for this is because when I was drawing these, I was so slow. I measured everything so carefully, and that's why they are the way they are. And you can see that the line quality isn't very good. You can see very short strokes in my lines, and that's because I was just taking my time measuring things so carefully. I think you even might be able to see like construction lines. I don't know if any of you have seen the drawing method where like you put a grid on the reference photo and then you copy that grid onto your canvas, and then you map out all the different squares so that you get everything in the perfect position. It was kind of like that, but also I didn't use a grid. I kind of just eyeballed everything, but very, very carefully and very slowly. And with the guns, I think they turned out fine because I just thought, okay, just turn it into a box. So yeah, that was the big difference. So these took me a long time to do. Okay, and I kind of kept that up. Well, if it isn't obvious, the change that I made in my drawing approach from this to this, I don't think it's a good thing. Even though I am studying hands here, can't really say that I learned much at all. Because if I want to learn how to draw hands, for me, I think it'd be best to take, you know, to take the hand and simplify it into something that's easy for you to manipulate. Whereas this, I was just being a printer. Right, so I didn't really learn anything. Right, I don't know how many hands I did, maybe 40 or whatever. But in the end, I didn't really learn much. I mean, I learned like intricate details about the hands, but I didn't really understand how the hand worked. Right, so all I did was just copy. And I was also learning about the anatomy of the trunk again. I did these very slowly. I tried to measure everything super carefully. And again, you know, the huge mistake of thinking anatomy is gonna save my work. It's not how it works. And you can see my line quality is not very good at all. There's just no confidence in there. I did start off a challenge to do 100 clothed figures, however, I didn't finish it. And the reason was because I got really tired of this approach to drawing, of just like carefully measuring everything, you know, being super careful and trying to get everything perfect. That I just couldn't do anymore. That's what I did here as well. Yeah, you can see my lines just not very good at all. There's just no confidence in these. Alright, the lines aren't streamlined at all. Everything's there's just no line confidence. The line work is just way too busy. But again, you know, when I was doing these, I took my time. So really the way I approached these was, I mean, if you have your own way of constructing the figure, I mean, what would you do? You'd like draw a simple torso or start with gesture or whatever. With these, what I did was I literally maybe just like start at the shoulder. So over here, right, I'd start at the shoulder, and then I'd measure, okay, what's the angle of this and this, and then what's the angle from here to here, and then I'd think, okay, this corner here lines up with this part of the head, and so I'd mark like a point for where that goes, and everything was just super careful. It was just essentially being a printer. That's what it was. And all these all the anatomy I did learn at the time was from Modern Day James's videos. Yeah, I really got tired of doing this. I specifically remember doing this one. I remember literally starting my way from the top and just like carefully like drawing the lines, and then I wouldn't even finish the outline. I'd go straight into the details. Like I'd draw this, I'd go here and try to draw every single like a crease of that hood, and I'd make my way down here, and I'd slowly just draw everything, right? So the process was start at the top and then slowly print my way until the end of the figure. It's not a good way to approach drawing, unless you like that, unless you like, you know, taking a reference and trying to draw it perfectly one-to-one. Yeah, I quickly got sick of that, and of course, you know, there was no shape design in what I was doing. Like all this stuff is just not good at all. Alright, look at this, there's just no design at all. It's just just no confidence at all. Okay, so where does that take us? So I got tired of doing that. I got tired of being a printer. I can't remember when I came across Tom Fox, but I saw his Instagram content, and I wanted to learn that. That was the most approachable way of drawing the figure for me. So what I did was I roughly spent from March to August drawing box figures and stuff like that, and just copying stuff from Tom Fox. Yeah, the first thing I did was I'd copy his figures from Instagram. I think I'd just do as much as I can and just try and understand what kind of forms he's using and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Because this stuff I was comfortable with. I did draw a box. I did the 250 box challenge. I did the 250 cylinder challenge, right? So I was familiar with drawing boxes and all different angles and cylinders and all different angles. This was a gateway into drawing the figure. Alright, so yeah, I copied his work. So all of this stuff is just copies of his work. And then once I got a bit comfortable doing that, I tried to apply it to reference, right? Take the reference and then draw a box mannequin with just boxes and cylinders. So I can't remember. Well, I have no idea where the first one I did was. But I mean, this is all I can really find of the box figures that I practiced. So yeah, these for me they're a lot better than what I was doing previously. Right? There's I didn't have to worry about the anatomy. I just need to focus. What is the perspective, and then can I simplify the body parts into cylinders and boxes correctly? I did that for between March and August, roughly. Oh yeah, and also I still was learning anatomy in the background. We're using Modern Day James's videos, his Gumroad content, and also Michael Hampton and Tom Fox. So they made up a lot of my figure drawing / anatomy practice. Because Michael Hampton also uses boxes for his figures as well. Well, as part of the learning process that he teaches. Okay, so what happened next? Okay, so I kind of went back to drawing figures quickly. These are better than the ones that I did earlier in the year, in January. But they still, I still couldn't bring. I didn't understand how to bring that form that I learned from those box figures into these, the shape that I have here. So some of this stuff feels, quite flat. It was better than what I did before. Right, and then I also got into doing longer time sessions. And again, the line work it just isn't good at all. Again, just no confidence. Lots of short strokes. And again, I still took the same approach with these longer drawing sessions. I think I remember what I did here. I start with the head or the arm or something, and then I just kind of find my way to the other body parts. The printer approach wasn't good, so I didn't completely move away from it. I guess I didn't really have a good way of constructing the figure, besides boxes, of course, and whatever I did for these ones, I can't remember. It's heavily based on shape. Oh, I can't remember. Okay, so what next? Okay, in October I continued doing more longer figure drawing sessions, and I think my line work here is kind of a bit better. Well, I think this brush is more forgiving than the one I used before. I think I was using a round brush. But yeah, I was starting to understand how light and dark shapes on the figure, and like where the core shadow is, and stuff like that, and just simplifying. Yeah, I did that. I don't know how long I did that for, but I'm pretty sure I got bored of it because I don't have any more of these. But yeah, some of these I think are okay. This one in the middle, it's also super stiff. Legs are super stiff. The whole thing's stiff. Yeah, I did that for a while, but I found it a bit boring. I guess I was under the impression that doing longer figure drawing sessions, as in like longer timed, like spending a longer time per figure, was going to be good for me. Which I guess it depends on what your goals are. So November, at this point I tried to do Modern Day James's 400 gesture drawing challenge. It's not on his channel anymore. I think he made it private, but I mean, I did it at the time. Obviously I did more than 400. I'm not really sure where number 1 was, but I do have these. And as you can see, even though I did more than 600, I didn't really understand much about gestures still, right? And I guess I just kept doing it because also I made a mistake with the numbering, so yeah, people say that with gesture. Well, I'm not sure who said it, but I think I've heard Progress say it. But you know, with gesture, just keep doing it, and you'll get better. You know, obviously after 600, it wasn't happening. I wasn't guessing what gesture was. So I kind of, I guess I left it alone. Now, December 2021 to April 2022. Around this time I discovered Will Weston. And this Will Weston kind of helped me understand how to take the figure, right, and just combine shape, anatomy, and form in a simple way. Right, I really like looking at Will Weston's notes, even now. I think they're fantastic. Or I respect them more now than I did, just because of how efficient it is. So yeah, I did try and draw using his notes, right? And I think these are a lot better than ones that I did previously. Because you know, my shapes were, I still had the shape thing going on, but there was also, I'm introducing form in there as well, right? So it was at this point where they were starting to come together. So I did a lot of these, right? So these are the 10 to 16. I kept going, somewhat of an improvement with these. I guess less. I think the line work was a bit more clearer as I went on. Obviously, some are still messy. But again, as you can see, the gesture really isn't there at all. Still stiff, but to me, I didn't notice this too well. I just didn't understand gesture, so yeah, I just kind of put it to the side. And here we are at 900. So I've mentioned before, like I've drawn a lot of figures. I've done a lot of gesture studies, a lot of figures drawing. So I did draw a lot. And you know, this is, I started in late 2020-ish, and you know, we're in late 2021 to mid 2022. Okay. So yeah, these are definitely getting better. And you can see like the brush I'm using is different. I don't know where I got these from, but I switched to this one, which was still quite similar, and then closer to a round brush, but you know, had like an oval shape. But yeah, but these were definitely better. Not great still, but definitely better. And the gesture was starting to get a bit better as well. But again, I still had no idea what gesture was. So, really, it was at this point where I said to myself, you know, I'm really just not happy with my figure drawing, and I just don't know how to make it better. So, you know, I guess I must have thought of all the elements of figure drawing, you know, the shape, the form, the anatomy. Okay, but what's left? It's a gesture, right? And that's the thing I put to the side after I did Day James's 400 gesture challenge, and did even more than that, and I still didn't get it. So I thought, okay, let's just stop. Let's try and figure out this thing called gesture. Okay, and so this is where my major breakthrough comes in. Right in May of last year, 2022, I discover force drawing. So why was this a major breakthrough for me? Like I said earlier, I did all those gesture drawing studies and I just didn't understand what gesture was. Then I found force, and now they explained it in a way that makes sense to me. Right? No longer was it just this feel the energy, blah blah blah. I mean, it's still there, but they show you how to see it and not ask you to just purely feel it. So yeah, I discovered force drawing, and I devoted all my time, literally all my time. I didn't do anything else. Right? I was committed to figuring this gesture thing out. Right, and this is also where I learned about shape design basics as well, how to build the figure with rhythms, and really that completely changed the way I see the figure. Right, but no longer do I see the figure as okay, that the torso is a box, the arms are cylinders. I mean, I still see that, but when I want to draw the figure now, it's what what rhythms do I see, right? That carries me, and then I can put the form on top of that. So yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. I know some of you in the Discord are trying to learn this as well, and I know it is difficult to understand because it's really abstract. For me, it was a major breakthrough in my figure drawing progress. Yeah, so I did this for a while. I kept doing it, but then now we're into June and December. After I spent about a month purely on trying to understand what force is, I tried to apply it, right? Because I mean, there's no use in understanding what gesture is if you don't know how to apply it to things that you want to do. So I tried drawing people from reference, tried to test my understanding of shapes, right? So I was, you can see I'm starting to think about shapes here. I'm ignoring details, all that kind of stuff. Although, I mean, I wasn't too successful here. Definitely very different from what I was doing before. I started working with characters that already exist, and I tried to pose them in all sorts of ways, still thinking about the gesture and good shape design. And then I tried creating some pose sheets for characters that already exist, taking inspiration from the artists that I really like. It was really at this point I already got into animation, and so that changed a lot for me. Yeah, so I mean, all the artists I take inspiration from now, it's completely different from before June of 2022. Right now, I also copied a lot of professional drawing, right? And I tried to see the gesture in their work. Like, can I see the force rhythms in their work as well? Right, and that helped a lot. So yeah, I did attempt to create some pose sheets of characters that already exist. I mean, these were very fun to do. I haven't done them in a while. Yeah, so the good thing about this is I learned it from Modern Day James, right? The good thing about this is you can practice your posing with a animation character without having to come up with your own design. I mean, character design, because character design in its own is already challenging enough. Yeah, so I did a lot of that from June to the end of the year, and I also started learning how to animate. The 12 principles, I was just learning that slowly as I was doing this. Yeah, so since that major breakthrough and me kind of learning what I wanted to do now, animation and storyboarding, like it all ties in. But like I said, I was studying a lot of artists, and one of those artists was Kren's cruise shot, and I'm sure you can see a lot of his influence in my work. But yeah, so fast forward to Jan 2023, I was I decided to take the knowledge that I've gained to this point with the influence of styles from artists that I studied, and I also wanted to reconsolidate the anatomy knowledge that I learned already. It was at that point where I decided I wanted to make these anatomy videos just to see if I understood what it is I was doing, and that really helped. And so I mean, that also kind of helped me explore this style as well. And also I made a video about simple figures, which is also what I'm kind of working towards still, right? I mean, all this fancy anatomy stuff is cool, but for me, working with simplified figures is just more efficient, right? So I mean, you can learn all the anatomy stuff, but if you don't need it in your work, then think about simplifying, right? And I mean, really, if you're going to do the simplifying stuff, you need to be able to draw a shape, but also give slight indications of form, right? You don't want to, because I did draw a shape when I first started, right? But my drawings are very flat, whereas these, right, there's a lot of shape going on, but I'm still selling the illusion of form. So yeah, all this style, all these shape choices that I have, it's all the influences of artists that I've studied up until this point. And also, like, my line quality, it's much better than when I started out, where I was drawing very short lines and scratchy lines, whereas now everything's just, I try to make nice long lines when I draw, right? Which is something I learned from Force as well, actually. Yes, so yeah, that takes us to now. Well, really now is, well, if we take my recent video and when I try to draw like friends, this is really, I guess, where you could say I am at this moment. I mean, I don't see myself drawing like this. Like I said, I like my figures to be simple, but you know, it's fun to draw in someone else's style, and then you can look at it and you'll be like, okay, I like that part of their shape design. Let me take that, and then I'll forget about everything else. So that's something I've done. Like in the anatomy videos that I've made, you can see these shapes that I use. They're quite similar to, you know, Kren's work, but I don't have as many shapes inside like I did here. Whereas of shapes inside, like outlining the, you know, the abs and the chest and all these what they call contour lines and stuff like that. I don't draw those. I mean, it was fun to do, but it's just not something that that I want to do. So yeah, that's really my figure drawing journey. This is where I started. Didn't understand anything. Just trying to copy Proka's videos, all the you know, the frustration I went through trying to get better, not having all the answers and having to push myself to want to get better. Because I know a lot of people, you know, you're drawing because, you know, you want to make get into the, I guess, the fun stuff, you know, the character design, and you know, I wanted to make sure I could draw well, and I could draw, you know, figures that are appealing to look at, right? So I got lost so many times trying to find answers, and you got loads of people telling you to do this and to do that, so you don't even know what the correct thing to do is, right? I guess from where I've started to where I am now, my advice really would just to be, you know, just keep trying to improve, as in, I guess, strive to improve. It'll be hard, right? Because you got to find your own path, right? My path is going to be different from yours. And also use multiple different resources. Don't just stick with one instructor, right? Find as much stuff as you can and just combine it and mix it into something new that's unique to you, right? Like you might like the way someone constructs a torso, but you don't really like the way they do arms, or you like the way someone does gesture, but you don't really like the way they construct the figure, and so on, right? So yeah, that's kind of what's happened to me. It's just been a mix of a bunch of different artists that I've learned from and instructors whose work I've looked at and just copied, just tried to figure this stuff out. So if this is where I am now, where do I want to go next, right? Obviously there's still a lot that I can improve, but like I said, I started learning animation in 2022, late 2022. I've learned all the 12 principles already, so I'm doing a bit more advanced animation. I mean, it's not advanced, but it isn't just the basic exercises that you typically get with the 12 principles. But yeah, I hope to be you know, doing actual studies from animation. By the way, I think the next stage for me with figure drawing isn't this kind of stuff. It's going to be tied in with animation. Right, an example of what that is, you know, stuff like this. This is an artist called Rocket Boy, and yeah, I love this stuff. So this sort of thing is the next stage really for me. That I think is just a natural progression if I really want to improve my figure drawing skills, right? So no longer really is it about, you know, making my anatomy better or whatever. For me, it's now it's about taking my figure drawings and actually making them, you know, bringing them to life. Yeah, making them actually move. That is what I think is gonna take my figure drawings to the next level again, right? I love stuff like this, you know, not just draw a single drawing, it's a series of drawings to make my figure move like this and just make people feel a certain way. Yeah, if you haven't checked out these two artists, I mean, there's plenty of more, Rocket Boy is working on is something called Kung Fu is Dead. Looking forward to seeing that finished. Amazing artist, amazing. There's some key animations for Star Wars Visions 2. What else? I mean, a lot of stuff. I think Attack on Titan as well. Alright. I really want to learn how to do this sort of stuff. Oh, this stuff is next level. If I can work towards that. Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna have to be. Learning how to move the character in space. If I can't move the character in space, then obviously my understanding of the figure is lacking, right? And so if I try to animate a figure, I can see where things look weird, and then that can help me understand what I'm missing, and then I can go back and study that stuff. So yeah, I hope this was useful for you to see my my timeline of figure drawing so far. And you can see my my breakthrough point in 2022 with gesture. Yeah, there isn't much else to say, but yeah, just keep going, find new teachers, keep trying to get better. If you try to get better, I mean, I'm sure you'll find something will, trigger in you to seek out some new knowledge. But yeah, I hope this can just give you an idea of a timeline and the progress, that you could make. And really, the 2020 really is the beginning of my figure drawing. You don't have to necessarily compare yourself to what I've done. I mean, you can just go at your own pace, whatever. But I just thought it'd be interesting to share this stuff, and then maybe I can update in a year or so. But yeah, I guess I'll end it there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.